Here's the best funnel to run in 2026 if you're selling a high ticket online course, and it works regardless of your niche, and it has been working even though we're in a season where trust is at an all-time low for selling online courses. And now I'm gonna break down this funnel step by step so you can implement it into your own business. And I know that it works because I've tried it against a bunch of different niches and it works every single time for my clients. If you don't know me, my name is Brian, and over the last 3 years, I've been working with coaches to help them scale their programs, and I've tried a bunch of different funnels to help them scale, and this specific funnel has been able to generate multiple six figures for my clients. And I'm gonna break down the exact framework that I use so you can use it to be able to set it up in your own business. So let's get into the video. Okay, so as you guys can see, I set up this entire Miro doc for you guys to be able to see the exact step-by-step frameworks and breakdowns, the whole 9 yards of how I set this up so you can be able to use this exact same framework into your own business and start seeing the results that you're looking for. So how it all works in a quick nutshell before we get into all of the nitty-gritty. So the first thing you do is get fresh traffic. Then you get them to register for a free training that they're obviously struggling with, whether it be an Airbnb training, whether it be a real estate training, whether it be a credit repair training. Whatever the training is, they're struggling with something, and your free training is going to be able to solve that issue. And then as they register, you score them as a lead. So you're able to see the intent they have, the purchasing power they have, and see if they're either a quality lead or a sucky lead that is just wasting your time on this webinar. So it's good to know going into the webinar about how many people are estimated to purchase, and you can do that by lead scoring. And then you're going to give them a chance to purchase before the webinar even goes live, and that's through an upsell, because people are going to be coming onto this webinar, they have an issue that they're struggling with, and the upsell is just going to be a little bump that they use to be able to get them to that next step before they hop onto the webinar. And the upsell also allows them to see like you are able to provide them with good amount of value, and that opens the door for them to be open to whatever you have to offer at the end of the webinar. And once they register for the webinar, you're going to be nurturing them to stay in constant communication with them and warm them up leading to the webinar, and then deliver value and make them feel like they have a bunch of actionable steps after the live training. So they walk away and they're like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. I have so much information. I don't know what to do with it next. And then boom, you offer them the next step to help them implement those results faster, AKA your offer. So the first part of this funnel is the registration page. You want to have a headline that delivers the outcome, what they'll learn, who you are, just giving you basic information about the host, and they're going to have testimonials on the registration page. And this is going to be the first page that they see when they come into your funnel. So just make sure it has all of these elements, and it should be converting really good for you. Once they register, they're going to be sent to the lead scoring page, and this is going to be a form where they get a free resource in return for filling out this form. And what we're able to do here is basically ask them questions, qualifying questions. So we're asking them their age, their occupation, their income level, their experience with solving said topics. So for example, if they're in the real estate niche, we're going to ask them how long they've been in the real estate niche, what have they tried, have they been successful, how much money have they made so far. And that way we're able to see what type of lead they are and basically qualify them based off the questions, based off the answers that they're going to be providing from this lead scoring form. And then we're able to give them a tag: A lead, B lead, C lead. These two A and B leads are probably the most hottest leads. C and D, they're like mediocre. We're not going to be focusing on them, but lead scoring allows us to focus on those A and B leads coming into the webinar, really be able to nurture them, be able to talk to them specifically before you even go live. So that way you already warm up your best leads, and you can increase the chances for you to make sales onto the call. So once they have the lead scoring page set up, you're going to have the VIP. So they go from the lead scoring page, from the registration to the lead scoring. Then after the lead scoring page, we're going to send them to the VIP upsell page. And this is going to be a page where we sell the experience, and we're like, hey, before you get into this webinar, you could be one step ahead of everybody else that does show up live to this class by purchasing this VIP upsell page, by purchasing this VIP product that will allow you to do X, Y, Z. And you could price this product around $47 to $97. And people that purchase this product are more likely and willing to buy the product that you have at the end of the webinar. And that's just like people that purchase this, you could tell they're more serious, and that allows you to speak to those people more, be like, hey, why did you purchase this? What are you dealing with? Just be able to talk to those warmest leads possible early on and get you an idea of who's going to be purchasing towards the end of the webinar. So once they do come from the VIP upsell page, there's going to be two types of confirmation pages, right? So you have the VIP thank you page. So people that did end up purchasing the VIP upsell, they're going to get sent to this page. And basically what it is, there's going to be a video that basically explains and congratulates them for getting the VIP experience. And it's going to go over what they can expect going into the webinar. Make sure you show up live, make sure you block out any distractions, what they're going to be learning on the webinar, the few steps, and then they're going to be prompted to join the group chat. This group chat is going to be our second form of communication. Is going to be basically to join this group chat, and inside that WhatsApp group chat, we're able to talk to them every day, really give them any type of extra resources that'll help them see that, hey, this person is actually valuable. They're giving me so much information, so much valuable information, that once they're, mind you, this is all for free. They're getting a bunch of value information inside the chat for free. They're getting their questions answered, and they're able to talk to you and see what your vibe is like, how you're able to conduct yourself, like really understand who you are as the host of the webinar. So that's just a great way for us to be able to stay in constant communication with these people, be able to nurture them, and then get them warmed up to the actual live class. And then there's going to be a video that is your breakdown of your process that goes through a quick overview of how your process works, how it's able to get you results, how it's able to get other people results. So they see, one, what this page is going to do is that they see you, they get hyped for the webinar. Two, they're able to see your process, so they're going to have less questions going on to the webinar, and they're able to see like, hey, this guy has an actual method behind the madness, and this method actually works. So if he's able to help me implement this method, maybe I'd be open to that. And then there's going to be commonly asked questions that people, when they do sign up for this webinar, they're already going to have questions. That's basically why they're joining this webinar, because they have questions that need to be answered. So if we're able to answer their questions before we even go live, by the time they go live, what other questions do they have besides how much does this cost? How can I join? Whatever you have to offer to help me achieve the result that I'm trying to get. So we have commonly answered questions on the thank you page. So the objections just go from way up here to down here. We're just breaking the objections, giving them as much content and information as possible, so they have no other words but to say yes. And then we're gonna have them check out more testimonials, so that way they watch you, they join the group chat, they watch the breakdown, they see the commonly asked questions, and then they see even more proof that your method works for other people. And that is the basis of the thank you page itself. That's how it all works. Very simple. The regular thank you page does the same thing. This is for people who don't purchase. Is going to be, the main difference here is just a different type of confirmation video. They're not in the VIP experience, but you're welcoming them for joining the webinar. You're getting them hyped, getting them prepared about what's to come, making sure they check their email for upcoming information, upcoming emails that you're going to be sending out, more resources. They're going to be prompted to join the group chat so we could do more nurturing, basically talk to them even more, get them warmed up for the webinar, and then they're going to be prompted to watch the breakdown. They're going to be shown the commonly asked questions, and then they're going to be shown more testimonials. So the thank you page, what it does is automatically just break down any objections that you're having, and just make sure you drive the point home with like, hey, I can help you out. Here's my process. Here's questions that people already asked that my program is able to automatically solve, because this program is made for you. I already know the questions that you have. So by the time you show up to the webinar, I already answered the question that you're going to ask me on the webinar anyway. So now you're going to be more attentive, and you know that, hey, this guy actually knows his stuff. Then you're going to see more testimonials where it's like a no-brainer. This person was able to go from 0 to whatever result that you're able to get them. So by the end of going through this confirmation page, they binge watch your content, and they know your program can actually work for them. And then, like we said, the main purpose is to prepare them for the call, live call, get them ready, explain the process to them, overview of how your method works, answer any objections, and hammer them with as much proof as possible. Now, we begin the nurture sequence. Right after they join the group, they're registered for the webinar, they're waiting for you to go live. That's when the nurture sequence goes. So imagine that every lead that comes into this webinar, they're at this level, right? They're curious, they're somewhat, they know, they're kind of aware of their problem, but they're curious, and they're not fully sold that you personally can solve their problem. So what our job is to get them from curious to ready to start by the day of the call. And how we're going to do this is by nurturing them and giving them as much information as possible with how the process works, testimonials of the worst case scenario. So imagine, like, worst case scenario, someone comes into your program and they only make like $1,000. That's worst case scenario. They're able to get results, but you showing them the worst case scenario ahead of time, they have that question anyway. They're imagine these people are going to Google and they're asking every question about how your program works, how the niche works, what's the worst case scenario in the niche, best case scenario in the niche. So before they're even jumping on the call, they have all of these questions. And our job during the nurture sequence is to basically answer these questions for them through all of the nurture information that we're going to be providing. So testimonials of the worst case scenario, testimonials of the best case scenario, what to avoid commonly asked questions. And all of this is done in effort to get them from curious to ready to start to the day of the call. And how we're going to do this is in 3 ways. So we do email sequence. We send out value dense emails, 1 to 2 emails a day leading up to the webinar, case studies about your best students, your worst students, how the process works, common objections, common questions, and then that's the value dense emails that get sent every day. These are different than the reminder emails, and the reminder emails are basically just reminding them of the webinar that's about to happen. So we hit them with a confirmation, a 24-hour reminder, a 1-hour reminder, a live reminder, and so on. And then in the WhatsApp group chat, we're sending out extra free bonuses, answering more of their questions in a faster pace, because like this is a constant communication. So they probably have a bunch of questions already that may not have been in the emails, but they're able to ask you personally. And the thing about people on these webinars, they always feel like their situation is so much different than, like their situation is so much different, and it's like, how can this work for me? I have a kid, will this work for me? And you're basically just answering all of those questions, breaking down all of their beliefs and all of their objections that they have leading up to the webinar. So like once they join this webinar, they're literally like, I have no more objections. I can't say no to this. I'm going to say yes. I'm ready to join. Like, I have no other excuses. And in the WhatsApp group chat, we're just giving them more testimonials and just talking to them more on a one-on-one basis. And also inside this WhatsApp group chat, we're able to see the A leads and B leads and be able to legit just hit those A and B leads up separately and have a real conversation and really just hammer in and be like, hey, what were you dealing with? Oh, okay, I understand that. I can be able to help you because I've been able to help XYZ do the same thing that you're going through. And we know that talking to these leads, these A and B leads are the most lever movement because they have the purchasing power to pay you, and they have the experience that, like, they know what they're struggling with. They have experience in the niche. They're just looking for the right person to guide them to where they're trying to get going. And then we have the SMS sequence as well. SMS sequence is not really giving out much value. It's just making sure that they show up. And this SMS sequence has had a 45% show up rate for us and for my other clients. So we do an instant confirmation. We do 24 hours out. We do morning of the webinar, 1 hour out, 30 minutes out, 15 minutes out, live, 15 minutes after the webinar, 30 minutes after the webinar. And then we even throw in a last call type of, like, when we're at the offer pitch. The pitch at the webinar, we do like a SMS blast where it's like, hey, I'm going over this secret live offer that I'm not sharing anywhere else. Make sure you join into the room, just to like get any final people into the webinar as we're going over the offer part. So, and then on the live call, so once we do this, these people, by the time that we implement all of this nurturing, we're hitting them up in the emails, we're hitting them up in WhatsApp, we're sending an SMS, they're ready to show up. They already know, like, hey, I don't have much objections. Now it's time for the live call. And then on the live call, we're going to state, the way the live call goes is once you're on these live calls, you're going to state who you are, why you're able to help them. You're going to go through your story, what you struggled with to get to where you're at now, how you achieve the transformation that people on this webinar are looking for. You're going to answer any objections. So throughout your webinar, you're going to weave in as much objections that your audience has as possible. Provide them value at the same time, enough value to make them almost be overloaded, but not know how to take the next step going forward. And then you're going to show how other people, not just you, you're going to show how other people were able to go through your exact program and receive the transformation that you're able to provide to them. So you're just showing them, like, hey, I was able to do this for myself, but it didn't just work for me. It worked for little Timmy here, who started from zero, had the same objection that you had, and was able to make X amount of money. And then you're just going to weave that all throughout your presentation. And then so once you get to the end of the presentation, you give them as much value as possible. Then you're going to pitch your services. You're going to pitch your offer. Under $1,000, you can pitch it onto the call, have people close on the call, and you're good there. But I would say over $1,000, you could just have them book a call and then close them on the call. These people, when you do have them book a call, keep in mind that you don't want just anybody on the webinar booking call. You still want to send them a link, but this link will have qualifying questions that make sure that when these people do book a call, they're actually qualified leads and you're not just wasting your time talking to people who don't have the capacity to pay you. And then finally, once you get to the pitch part, tell people to book a call, you're going to answer any final objections with the Q&A. And basically the Q&A is going to be you going through the live chat, answering those questions and leading people back into your offer, whether it be to book a call or click the link in the chat to close. So the webinar stats that you're going to be looking for, once you run this, you're going to have the registrations, you're going to have the show up rate percentage, stayed until the pitch percentage, book call rate percentage, and then conversion rate percentage. And what you want to aim for the show up rate, we average at least, on the last webinar we did a 50% show up rate. So 30% show up rate is good to start off with, but you always want to go higher than 30%. Stayed until the pitch 60%, book call rate 15%, and conversion rate 7 to 8%. If you're consistently converting at 7 to 8%, you're golden. So here's what the numbers are looking like. So we have 1,000 people that registered. Of that 1,000 people that registered, 300 people showed up. 180 people stayed until the pitch. You have 45 applications. 31 is actually qualified and they book a call. You close 9 people from those book calls, and now your revenue from that webinar is $28,350. And that's just the math of, that's for a $3,000 program. Your program can be more, but that's just the basis of it. And you increase your conversion rate, you increase the money that you're making. So that's just a quick look at the stats here. So all of this is fueled by ads and organic content. All we're doing is you're making ads, pushing people from these ads into this funnel and just repeating the process over and over again. And the same thing could be done with organic content, but honestly, I feel like organic content can be tapped out. Ads, you're not really tapping out because it's always reaching a new audience. So all you're doing is getting traffic and then putting them through this exact system and then just continuing to repeat the process over and over again, getting a bunch of fresh traffic into your page, understanding what the A and B leads are. So you hit those people first, hit them with the upsell. So you're making money up front before the webinar goes live, and you're able to see who the more serious buyers are. They're able to binge watch this content. They're able to basically go down a rabbit hole of how your process works, who it's worked for, and have their questions answered. Then we're nurturing them leading up to the webinar as much as possible to get them from curious to ready to start. And then we go live, and then we just keep repeating the process. And the goal is to just keep increasing these numbers. There's always going to be some leaks into the webinar, and the best part is that you can always just focus on increasing one part. And if you increase one part, then you're going to be making money overall. Because if you increase the show up rate to 10%, you did the same webinar, you did the same efforts. Now you're just making more money because you increased the show up rate. You increase the book call rates. You got more people booking calls, and more people book calls is the more chances that you're able to close people onto these calls. So that is the funnel overall, and now you can be able to implement it into your own business. So that's the exact process that I use to help coaches and content creators scale their online high-ticket courses, even though we're in a season where trust is at an all-time low and people just don't trust high-ticket coaches anymore. And a webinar funnel is the perfect way for you to gain their trust, spend an hour with your audience, and be able to pitch them your services and just get into a room where there's hundreds of people that have an issue and you have the solution to their problems. And if you enjoyed this video, you can check out my other videos down on my page below. I'm going to link it up here. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.